so many things that go into constructing this great championship, Peter, and with all the components, the grandstands, the championship village, this amazing field, some of the course changes that you've made, can you give a little bit of an insight into what exactly goes into putting this great week of golf on?
You mean other than a lot of hard work? It takes a long time. It takes a lot longer than perhaps people imagine. I mean, here we are in January now, and we will start planning, the 2016 tournament almost as soon as this one finishes, because it does take that long to not only make all the arrangements for the infrastructure that we have to bring in, but importantly to make sure that the players, we get player arrangements, because player schedules are done way ahead of time. So it's important that we do all those things certainly by the end of this coming summer.
We've seen that the championship evolve so much over the last 10 years. Obviously, this is the very special 10th edition of the Abu Dhabi HSBC Golf Championship, and you've been here from day one, when the year that Chris DeMarco won and it was announced in Emirates Palace. How much has it really evolved, and how much have you seen it change over those 10 years?
Well, the tournament has changed dramatically, but so has Abu Dhabi. I mean, I was only talking to somebody last night about, when we first came here, there were two courses here. There was between here and the airport, there was sand. And now there's Khalifa City. It's just amazing. The Grand Mosque has been built. Saadiyat, was a sandbar. There was nothing there. And it's phenomenal how quickly Abu Dhabi has changed, and this golf course has changed. And when we first came here, it was a very good resort golf course. Nothing wrong with it, but it wasn't really a true test for professionals. And in that very first year, we added a lot of components to the original design. We put in some new back tees, we added a few bunkers here and there. And brought it up to a competitive track for professional golfers. Since then, we have every year we've evolved. The tournament has evolved, and the course has evolved, because it's important that it keeps on changing. Not to go forward is to go backward, which is a very famous somebody's quote somewhere along the line. And that's how we feel about the golf course and about the tournament. We've got to introduce new things every year, not just on the golf course, but also in the spectator village. The facilities that we're offering both the players and the spectators.
The changes to the course that have been made this year are possibly the most pronounced that have ever been made to the course, with bringing water into play on those 3 holes, the 2 changes to the par 3, both visually and actually from a playing perspective. Can you describe a little bit more about those specific changes and how much of an extra test it's going to provide for the players?
Yeah, they are more dramatic. I mean, we've done a lot of changes over the years with new tees, etc. But this year we have introduced or brought the water into play. There was always water there on a lot of the holes, but as I said, it was a resort course, and therefore the water wasn't really threatening the golfer. It was there more as a cosmetic to make it look nice. Now we have brought the water much more into play, and on holes like the second, for instance, where we've increased the size of the green probably by 25%, and this allows the tour to put pin positions on the right-hand side, and any ball slightly right of the pin will now could end up in the water. So they've got to think about it. The players have got to think about their second shots. If they're going for it in 2, it's making it a much more difficult shot. And even if they're laying up and going up in 3, which is what the majority of the players do, it is still it's increasing the degree of difficulty, but it's not making it tricky. It's all the changes we want to do and we have done are, I think, fair. The 4th hole, for instance, where the green has been increased by probably 40%, and that again has brought the water on the right into play. It's when the player stands on the tee now and looks at that new green shape with the bunker in front and the way it works, the water is much more of a threat, and the water he's much more aware of the water. and that makes it much more difficult for them. On the 12th again, we wanted to bring ideally the water kind of round the green, but it was too difficult to do that on a pretty physical point of view. So what we've done is actually extend the green back towards the water, which allows us now to have some short pins on 12, and I think you'll see ball. There is a chance that the ball, if they're going for the short pin, could suck back into the water. It's it's dramatic for the players. It's testing for the players. And it's very exciting for the spectators. But all these things have been done, in conjunction with the Abu Dhabi Golf Club, Troon, who operate the golf club, and with the original designer Peter Harradine. And he is very happy with the changes that have been made, and the golf course is now. Everybody's very happy with the changes. All the players, I haven't heard one player complain about the changes. I think they've all recognised that it's added to the value of the golf course. It's added to the degree of difficulty, and it's made the golf course, one of the best and most testing courses on the European Tour.
And as a consequence, we've seen the winning score of the championship creep down over the years. 2011 was that record that Martin Keimer played really tremendous golf for those 4 days to reach 24 under par. But the last few years, we've seen the score come down by sort of to 13, 14 under. This week, however, with such amazing conditions, Martin's only gone and done it again, or at least he's threatening to, 12 under in midway through his second round. First of all, do you see anyone catching the three-time winner? And second of all, what kind of winning score would you envisage for this week?
Well, it's hard to say, but I mean, there are so many good players out there that I don't think Martin will canter away. Hopefully, we'll have a tight finish on Sunday. And let's face it, the conditions, right now, for instance, are pretty benign. You don't often get it as good as this. I mean, the weather has been fantastic. There is little wind. And on the first 2 days, the pin positions aren't that testing, so it's set up for pretty good scores, as you saw yesterday. And today again, I think without the wind, there'll be some high scores. And he's off to a good start this morning, but then McIlroy and Fowler and Els and people this afternoon, I'm sure they'll be chasing, and I'm sure they'll give him a good run for his money.
Speaking of McIlroy and Fowler, and obviously Rory as the world #1, Ricky having had such a great 2014 season, making his debut in Abu Dhabi, it really speaks a lot for how much golf has changed. I suppose if we take this 10-year period as an example, how much more vibrant has the game of golf got in terms of how much younger the guys are that are winning tournaments now, and just generally the image of golf in general, how much has it changed?
Well, I think Tiger had a huge effect on golf. I mean, amazing how he brought the golf back into popularity. I mean, after the Nicholas Palmer days, it dipped a little, and he brought it back, and he attracted a lot of attention to the game. And of course, what he's done, since being injured, and a whole lot of. I mean, he intimidated a few players, right? When he first came out and was winning all the majors, but since he was injured and then has now come back, a lot of the players, a lot of young players have come into the game, and a lot of young players are they're no longer frightened about it. They're fitter, their ability is second to none. I mean, it's probably the way the game is played now by these young guys, it's never been played like this before. Not even in Tiger's era, I think. Some of the way Rory plays, the way Fowler plays, the way Justin Rose, Henrik Stenson, of course, who didn't have a very good round yesterday, but the way they play the game is so different, and they are not intimidated by anybody. And I think that it's very healthy for the game that we get more and more young players coming into it, because that's, after all, is what we've got to do. Is we've got to attract more young people to play the game, and especially here in Abu Dhabi, we want to try and attract more Emiratis to come and play the game. And the more they can see youngsters playing the game, I think the more they will be attracted to it.
How do we do that, Peter, in terms of attracting Emiratis? We have such great infrastructure here in the Middle East, such great courses. Abu Dhabi's blessed with not one, not two, but three amazing championship courses. But the uptake has been a little bit slow. How do we accelerate that?
It's difficult, but I think it's, I mean, historically, what the easiest way, although whether that's going to happen here is probably, you know, questionable, is, you know, if you have a star from your country who suddenly you know, performs really well and is like Keimer in Germany, or before him Bernard Langer in Germany, and Rory in Northern Ireland and that sort of thing. But that is unlikely to happen. And I think the only way really that we're going to bring on the game in this part of the world is through the schools. You know, catch the kids when they're young. And we're thinking of a whole program of actually going to schools, taking the game to schools, showing them that it's not as difficult as you know, as people think, making it easier for them with you know, big balls and big clubs and everything to start playing the game, and just to show them how you can what fun it is to play. And I think if you go to the kids and then, you know, allow them, with all the facilities we got in this country, allow them to get onto the golf courses, the game will develop, but it's going to be a long haul. I think probably my favourite moment has to be the first winner, because I think Chris DiMarco, that first year when we set it all up, you know, we were pretty confident that it was going to be a great tournament, but yeah, we were in the unknown to a great degree, and that first year was kind of magic. You know, that set the tune for the rest for the next 9 years, and I think he is a very nice guy. He's a very articulate guy. He was very appreciative of Abu Dhabi. He'd never been out here before, as most of the players and most of us had never been out here before. So we were absolutely amazed and knocked out by Abu Dhabi and what, you know, the facilities and the way we were looked after and the hospitality and the safety of the place. And I think that will be my most important memory, probably.
Peter German, Championship Director, thank you very much for chatting to us, and enjoy the week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.